folks, I was brought up with the old adage that a penny saved is a penny earned, and I still believe that today. Um, but most folks, when they think of this old adage, they don't consider their mortgage. Your mortgage is one of the greatest wealth creating vehicles that most folks will never know about. So let me set you straight. Just released Black Knight, who monitors this information, let us know that here in 2016, second quarter, that 40% of refinances were what they call rate and term refinances. What that is, a rate refinance is a refinance that allows you to go into a lower rate so that the cost of the money that you borrow is less, saving you money. A term refinance is refinancing into a shorter term mortgage that allows you to obviously finish paying off your principal in a shorter amount of time. It saves you money because you're not going to be paying interest for all these years that you are now shaved off your current loan. I bring it up simply because 40%, that's huge. That's on the surface fantastic. But it's not a great arrangement for everybody. So I put together 5 questions to essentially ask yourself to see if that a penny saved is a penny earned can be applied towards your mortgage. Ask yourself these questions. The first question in considering a rate and term refinance is what is my new mortgage payment going to be? Because if you get just a term refinance, that means that the same amount of principal must be paid off in a shorter amount of time, which means that the monthly principal payment must be higher. You could end up with a higher payment. That may not be in your best interest. Now, if you can do both a rate and a term, allowing for a lower interest rate so that the cost of the money that you do borrow is also lower at a time that your principal payment per month is higher, it might be a wash. You could end up having about the same payment and then not having to pay years worth of interest payments by going with that rate term refinance. It's really an individual scenario. The next question is, will I be able to meet my other financial goals? Because I don't live in a bubble, guys. I know that you have more than just a mortgage payment. There are car payments, there are credit cards, there are college, there are savings. The question is if you did this rate and term refinance, what's going to be left over to continue to go ahead and support these other important causes? Because if you're somewhat tight already with your current 30-year mortgage, the refinance lender is going to look still at your debt to income ratio. And if you're tight already and a rate term refinance might adjust your debt to income ratio, then potentially it could actually increase your interest rate slightly, making for a more expensive payment. Again, it's very specific, it's very individualized. The next question to ask yourself is, being completely debt free by the time you retire, is that important to you? Well, I confess, I turned 50 this year, and the whole notion of having my house paid off by the time I'm 65, I could see that. It's honorable, but is it practical? We're not the 50s and the 60s. Houses don't cost $35,000. So the notion of paying off, say, a five or a $600,000 loan by the time you retire, is it practical? Again, no real right or wrong across the board answer. It's going to be individual. The next question is, how long have I lived in my home, and how long will I continue to plan, or I should say, do I plan on continuing to live in my home? Because loans are front loaded with interest. And that means that any refinance is going to have you recast from the very beginning, whether it be a 15, 20, 30-year loan, a lot of front-loaded interest. Towards the tail end of the loan, it's going to be very little interest and almost all principal. But it's got to be a concern, because if you're in, for example, a 15-year loan or a 15th year of a 30-year loan, I'd be hard pressed to see a benefit to refinancing out of something like that. Again, we can run the numbers. We'll talk about it. We can easily calculate how long you would need to go in order to provide a benefit, if at all. It may not be worthwhile, is what I'm suggesting. And the last one is there other ways to reduce my monthly outgoing towards my mortgage in order to get similar benefits? And I'm telling you straight up, there absolutely is. You do not need to do a rate and term refinance to enjoy some of these things that I've just talked about. Um, and then there's also things that you probably don't want to do when it comes to using your own mortgages as a wealth creation. So at the end of the day, I want to go ahead and say this: give me a call. We will go ahead and run the numbers. It's not in everybody's best interest, 40% aside, it's not in everybody's best interest to do a rate and term refi, especially in light that there's other things that we can do with your existing mortgage, not changing anything and still allowing similar savings that are available to you today. So look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day.